That, of course, part of the press conference today. Several other developments coming from that ANC NEC meeting, including that the leadership of the ANC Youth League is going to be disbanded. And then a statement released just in the last hour or so about the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, also a member of the NEC, Sdumo Dlamini, that he in fact has been hospitalized. Various speculation about why that is. Pule Mabe is the national spokesperson of the African National Congress. He joins me now. Pule, good evening. Thanks so much for joining us.
Evening and evening to your viewers, Stephen.
Firstly, Deputy Minister Sdumo Dlamini, what are you able to tell us about his condition and why he's in hospital?
Well, we have already issued a statement today, sending a message and wishing him well, notifying South Africans that we have since been informed by the family of his illness and are happy that he's recuperating well in hospital and looking forward to have him come and perform his responsibility in the national executive, both as a leader of the African National Congress and as a Minister of Agriculture and Land Reform.
Okay, let's look at some of the issues that came up in that NEC. I mean, firstly, the ANC Youth League leadership being disbanded, quite a dramatic move, and yet this leadership's mandate expired quite some time ago.
Well, the decision to disband the Youth League was not an easy one. It was taken after intense engagement in the organization, looking at the material conditions that are obtaining. There were also other issues of litigation that would have dealt with the status of the league and all of that, but also the question of their own mandate. Now, what we have now done through the establishment of the National Youth Task Team was to make sure that from the work that the leadership of the Youth League was undertaking, you could be able to take matters further forward. Make sure that the Youth League fulfills its twin tasks. One of mobilizing young people behind the banner of the African National Congress, the second one being that of championing their very interests. The officials of the Eastwhile leadership of the ANC Youth League has been incorporated into this National Youth Task Team so that there is some form of appreciation of organizational memory. Stephen, the task at hand is to make sure that within the shortest time possible, the ANC you could deal with all the legal and other issues that would have engulfed the league and allow it to go to a conference, elect a leadership that will be seized with discharging the mandate of the ANC Youth League. A youth league that will be led by young people, revive it to its former glory as a vibrant voice of the youth in this country.
The leader, of course, until today was Colin Maine. He, someone who, he said famously that he was introduced by the Gupta family by Supra Mahoma Pello, the former Premier of Northwest. Does this show that he's been a failure? I mean, would you say he's been a good leader of the ANC Youth League? Well,
Colin Maine has now been posted to the office of the Deputy President, the strategic head there. Remember, Colin is also a directly elected member of the National Executive Committee. He has led the ANC Youth League at various levels. He used to be the chairperson of the Youth League in the Northwest. I mean, when I was Treasurer General of the Youth League at the time, he was leading structures of the Youth League in that province. He was also part of COSAS at a point in time. He was part of a collective. I don't think that we should point fingers at individual leaders of the ANC Youth League. There are challenges that the ANC Youth League collective faced, including some which was beyond their control, legal challenges. Now, there's an NYTT that has been set up. It must be given the space to be able to attend to the things that must be attended to, so that you have got a youth league that immediately responds to the challenges of the day. The Youth League is very important for the ANC. It is a reservoir of leadership. It is one that produces future leaders of the African National Congress.
Okay, the situation regarding e-tolls, you say as the National Executive Committee you want an expedited solution. You want something to happen. Yes. But you also reaffirm the policy of user pays. In other words, if you use infrastructure, you pay for it. If you use a road, you pay for it. Does that mean e-tolls are going to stay then?
Well, affirming the user pay principle, I mean, that is a policy of government, and dealing with e-tolls, we mustn't conflate them, because there is a process that the President of the African National Congress is attending to.
They put in the same clause in your statement. That's why they're conflated.
Oh, okay. No, I accept that. Because, you see, the user pay principle always come up when it has got to do with road infrastructure. That those that use road infrastructure, especially motorists, given our own fiscal challenges, they too would have to be seen putting in something in the kitty. because it's motorists in the main who use these roads that are tarred and all of that. But of course, there is a challenge on e-tolls and its associated costs, whether the citizens of Gauteng or wherever e-tolls are would be able to afford that. Now, that is a matter that the President of the Republic is seized with, and we have said that this must be attended to and resolved expeditiously.
Okay, but I mean, what solutions are there on the table, really? I mean, the debt will only increase. The people of Gauteng have shown that they're not going to pay. For some reason, there's been no prosecution. I think at one point, 2 specialist prosecutors were put on this. There's been no prosecution. It would seem that there's no solutions going to magically appear. We aren't, unfortunately, about to get more money. I mean, we're talking about the same amount of money that was spent on e-tolls as was lost by Eskom in the last financial year. It's a lot of money.
Well, I accept that, Stephen. The fact that the President of the country is seized with this matter should be able to tell the people of South Africa the amount of prominence and agency that we have attached on this matter. And I can tell you, as soon as that process is done, and there is a statement that we need to issue out in the public would be given an update. What the people of Gauteng must appreciate is that there is some form of a process. Now, this process is effectively activated by their own cries, by their own concerns. The ANC in this province of Gauteng has led the charge. The Premier, in his capacity as the chairperson of the African National Congress, together with his collective, have filed a memorandum where they were basically speaking on the side of the people, because an ANC that leads society is one that resonates with the plight of our people. And they have shown that action when they marched, when they took to the streets to raise a concern on e-tolls.
I mean, the concerns were first raised in 2007, 12 years ago.
Yes.
The ANC government went ahead. The ANC government still has the policy being implemented, and here you say that the ANC is listening.
Well, the fact that there is a renewed process that the President of the Republic is seized with and attending to, it means that as soon as we are done with that, we'll be able to communicate to members of the public on where we are. Stephen, I can assure you and the people of South Africa, the viewers, the millions of people who are watching SABC throughout the country, that we always believe in solutions. And we always believe that all our actions must serve the interest of our people.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Derek Hanekom now, the former tourism minister. Your Secretary General, Ace Makashule, issued a statement about 36 hours before the NEC meeting saying he was a charlatan and a wedge driver. Now this issue is going to the top 6 officials. Are you expecting any action to be taken against him?
Well, we have taken an issue to officials. It will be preemptive of us to take an issue to officials with a predetermined outcome. The leadership collective of the African National Congress, in its own collective wisdom, when it referred the matter to officials, it was because we believe in processes in the African National Congress. It will be the outcome of the officials which now begin to guide structures of the ANC on where an issue like this would belong. And as the Deputy Secretary General has said, it could be that when we look at the undertakings of the officials, we then come and say, maybe this issue must be referred to the committee that is dealing with the establishment of smaller political parties, or it's an issue that must go straight to the NDC. We do not know. We must allow Comrade Derek Hanekom that space to brief officials on the details of the meeting, especially in the wake of some of the confessions that have already been made out in the public.
Okay, so for the moment, there's no disciplinary proceeding against Derek Hanekom?
Well, we wouldn't know what will be the outcomes of those engagements, and I wouldn't want us to preempt those.
Okay, I mean, as far as I know, former President Jacob Zuma faced no disciplinary action for attending a BLF meeting, allowing himself to be photographed in the run-up to the election. I mean, if one were prosecuted, if one were disciplined, surely the other would be too.
Well, Stephen, I wouldn't even want us to get to that point. We must have confidence in processes of the African National Congress. You see, the ANC is not responding because of what was necessarily raised by EFF. It is responding because there is a confession that its own member, who's a member of the National Executive Committee, who also sits in the National Working Committee, has gone out and said, oh, yes, I did have a meeting. Now, with officials, details of such meetings are then shared. On the basis of those, a determination is then made on where this issue belongs, if it is to be followed through.
Okay. The statement that was set out on Wednesday night by the Secretary-General's office about Derek Hanekom, does that reflect the view of the ANC or just the Secretary-General?
Well, the statement was issued by DIP of the ANC, which I am the head of as the national spokesperson. Of course, signed under the Secretary-General. We are now from the National Executive Committee meeting. The SG doesn't issue statements. Statements of the ANC would be issued by DIP. So let's just clear that one out. We are now from the NEC of the ANC. The NEC of the ANC has pronounced itself. Now, what it means is that all of us henceforth we are now going to be guided by the outcomes of the National Executive Committee. Because Stephen, it makes the life of the NEC a little bit difficult to want to veer into issues when the NEC has said and pronounced itself. Because the NEC is the highest decision-making body in between Congresses.
Okay, I understand all of that, and I accept all of that. But I do think that people have a right to know if the governing party, the African National Congress, if the Secretary-General of the African National Congress is sending out statements in his own name, but with the power of the party behind them. So the question is, was there consultation with the other top 6 officials? Or was it just Ace Makashule and other people in his office, I don't know, Carl Niehaus maybe, that were involved in the statement? So was there consultation, or was it only the Secretary-General and no one else?
Well, my name was written there as a person who would file queries on that statement. I would have been here at the SABC earlier on doing an interview with the SABC on exactly the same issues that shall have been ventilated on later on.
But you weren't, I'm sorry, I don't quite follow what you're saying. Yes. You're suggesting that you would have done interviews on it if the timing had been better?
No. All I'm saying to you is that you are asking me about the statement.
Yes.
The point I'm making is that, Stephen, prior to the statement being issued, we had already begun speaking on the issues ourselves in the ANC. We issued a statement later that evening. But where we are now, we have gone past the statement. The NEC has said and has pronounced itself. Now, what we want all our members to have faith in is the process that the ANC National Executive Committee has outlined. Because, you see, if we want to go back to last week's events and all of that, it won't be helpful to the decisions of the NEC.
Well, it won't be helpful to the political party, but I think as a journalist we have a duty to interrogate.
Correct, I accept that.
So the question simply is, did the ANC Secretary-General release a statement in the name of the ANC, but that was really a statement issued by him and he alone, or was there consultation? The reason that this is so important is that the chances of another late-night statement coming from the same office are fairly high, and we need to know if this is the party speaking or only the Secretary-General.
Well, the DIP of the ANC issued the statement. The National Executive Committee of the ANC said, we are now here to communicate decisions of the NEC. Where we are now, the decision on Derek Hanekom is the one that is contained on the NEC statement. They are statements that we issue on a daily basis. We issue statements like you were asking me about Comrade Sdumo Dlamini. You know, was the NEC consulted on that statement? We issue many statements. No, I'm trying to give a simple example that there is a decorum in the African National Congress. There are protocols that govern and guide our communications. Now, we are from the NEC. The NEC has expressed itself. Decisions of the NEC are contained in the NEC statement. It now means that any other thing that we assist with, which is in the NEC statement, such an issue would now have to be guided by what is in the statement.
Okay, so the NEC would make a determination about whether Derek Hanekom is a charlatan and a wedge driver?
Well, we have gone past that. The issue has now been referred to officials. Okay. You know, because you see, there are quite a number of issues in there. That's why it's important to allow our officials to attend to the issue. Once the officials have concluded their work, they will be able to guide us on the next way forward.
Okay.
We're a very democratic and transparent organization. Whatever decision or pronouncement we make on the matter, we'll come out and file it to the public.
Okay. You also talk about problems with people in leadership making wild claims, and specifically people in leadership is what your NEC statement talks to. You say that leaders must stop doing that and stop making unsubstantiated claims. What are you actually referring to? And I say this in the context, we all saw it, at the Zondo Commission, in which former President Jacob Zuma has named now, I think, 3 people he says were spies.
Stephen, when that statement is being made, it's made in broad terms. Because the unity of the ANC would require that all of us that are in leadership structures, including our membership, would have to appreciate that unity is an essence. and how we all could unite and renew this organization that we claim to love so much is to be of one mind, to be at one in terms of how we process the national democratic revolution, the program that we carry on the ground on radical socio-economic transformation, the sort of jobs that we must create, the discipline of our cadres. I mean, we now say that during this current term, one of the things that we want to do is that build a developmental state with emphasis on ethical leadership. Make sure that the things that cadres that are deployed in our state institutions do are things that would be able to embolden the ANC's standing out in the public. They would be able to contribute to public confidence as well. Because when the ANC enjoys the trust and confidence of the public, it is able to discharge its own mandate without haste. So we can't be tolerant of continued suspicions amongst ourselves, because those suspicions are the ones that fuel the mood and spirit of factionalism, which we do not need. To put it bluntly, we said marumo fasi. We don't want our people to be fighting. We want our officials to be united, to be at one. We want the National Working Committee to be united, to be at one. We want the NEC of the ANC to be united, to be at one. We want all of our 52 regions to be united in that way, and all of our 9 provinces to be united in that way. Because when we are united, the work to implement our agenda becomes easier.
Pule Mabe, thank you very much indeed for coming through tonight. I do appreciate it. Pule Mabe is the national spokesperson of the African National Congress.